We do not have situations when they conflict, and this would lead to infighting like it was with the previous government, and that ended up affecting the delivery of services to the people.
In 2013, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta issued an executive order assigning then Deputy President William Ruto the role of coordinating government agenda and ministries, but later, through another executive order in 2018, reassigned those roles to CS Interior Fred Matiang'i. Political analysts opine that reassigning of roles by the president will be key in holding the leaders accountable in their performance.
The president pronounced himself, and it is no secret. If you do not have the capacity to deliver, my friend, pack and go. The only way you can measure the efficiency of an organization is knowing what are the deliverables. You'll never be able to tell what the deliverables are if you have not defined what the milestones, what the expectations are, and which activities falls within that mandate. Therefore, this time around, unlike before, there's a lot of political goodwill. The definition is supposed to increase effectiveness and efficiency.
Under President William Ruto, from the way it looks, it will be very different. Under Kenyatta, nobody was sacked. Under Ruto, very many CSs, very many PSs are going to be sacked for non-delivery.
In the executive order, President Ruto also placed the Coffee Subsector Reforms Implementation Committee under the Office of Deputy President. This, analysts say, will make or break the DP's political ambitions.
What the president is trying to say is that we need, the prices of coffee worldwide have improved. We need now to give it more attention, not only in the Mount Kenya region, but in terms of spreading coffee the whole country. Politically, it can be suicidal if the deputy president takes that position as a Mount Kenya item and ignores coffee as a national cash crop.
He understands the operations of the cartels within the coffee sector. If Rigathi Gachagua wins this battle, and I can tell you, he knows he has no option. He must win the battle. His commitment, how he has pronounced himself from this January, the only battle that he's going to fight is tea, coffee, and milk.
The executive order comes after a 3-day cabinet retreat to induct CSAs and PSAs on the Kenya Kwanza plan. Gishoki Washira, Prime Edition.
Well, that story by Gishoki Washira brings us to our first break right here on KBC Channel 1. We're taking a short break. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na Loto Moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
As is our usual, we bring you entertainment shows and nothing or less of that. Event dubbed the Super Mario Experience stood out with 5 experiential color zones to represent the personalities of Matata members.
I'm getting cheese kama panya ya pili. Almost died so alive kama traki ya dili. Pigia kinaro lizeni mwa puton vipi.
King Kaka has officially released his much anticipated album dubbed A Second Life. The album commemorates the period when the superstar was hospitalized for months.
umekuwa na bidii, umenipa nafasi.
12 out of the 17-track album are collaborations with top music personalities within and beyond Kenya. There is a lot of diversity in the collaborations.
Welcome back to KBC, our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Mboya 24. The Ministry of Education has rolled out a nationwide inspection of primary schools to ascertain their preparedness to host junior secondary pupils. The ministry will be checking on the qualifications of teachers, school enrollment, facilities before permitting any institution to admit pupils of grade 7.
A committee comprising of different education stakeholders, among them the Teacher Service Commission, Directors of Education and National Government Administration Offices (NGAO), are moving within schools to ascertain infrastructure and teaching staff headcount to ascertain their qualifications.
As the school grows up, there will be required some expansion of facilities, like the labs, like the extra classes. Is there a playground? A playground, very key. CBC activities are very important because at the end of it, there is a pathway we are calling talent pathway. So a playground is important for the school to learn. Do they have also extra rooms that can now house home science? Can have the theater.
The Ministry of Education has also kicked a countrywide retooling of trainers and teachers on how to embark on junior secondary education in the preparation of school opening and enrollment of junior secondary school. Mombasa County Director for Education Peter Magiri says the ministry has put in place measures to improve education standards.
Paka sasa hakuna shule ambayo imesajiliwa. Kwa sababu gani? Serikali imetoa mwongozo wa kukagua hiyo mashule, na ndio nimesema ilianzishwa jana kila pahali, everywhere in the country jana. Kwa hivyo wale wazazi ama wale walimu wanatoa hiyo miongozo ama joining instructions, tunaomba wangojee. Wazazi tunawaomba wangojee kabla ya kukimbilia, kwa sababu vile nilisema kuna wale private investors, na unajua hata wao wako kwa biashara, kwa hiyo wanakimbilia.
Some of 34,500 pupils will be transiting to junior secondary schools in Mombasa County. The Ministry of Education says the textbooks to be used in junior secondary school are ready and are awaiting the placement of students. The Ministry of Education has cautioned parents against buying school uniforms and other requirements of junior secondary school until they get communication of the approved institutions. Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition, Mombasa County.
Well, parents there warned not to buy school uniforms until a communique comes through. Well, we are now joined by Charles Owoko Ochome, National Chairman of the Kenya Private School Association. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us in this live broadcast. And by the way, we had actually on the poster referred to you as the secretary, but you have confirmed that in fact you scaled up and ran for elections and became the chairman, I think 1 year ago. How has it been for you?
Thank you, Tom. It has been kind, of good. It's nice working with mature people. The directors are mature people. So it's nice working with them. Of course, even when there are challenges, you explain it, they get it. And where you score, they appreciate it. So it's nice working with the directors.
By the way, that story of the Ministry of Education rolling out the nationwide inspection of primary schools to check the level of preparedness, as chair of the Kenya Private Schools Association, what would you say? How ready are the private schools?
It's not bad for the government to check on schools. Even when we were going to school, there were inspectors of schools. And I think at some level there was a gap. So when people hear that the government is checking on schools, they just want to fault it or to think they are trying to find faults. I have called across the country, or most of the directors that met these government officials, and they said majority of them were very friendly. We had this same exercise last year before this current regime came into power, and they were also very vigorous. So we are not scared that they are coming because these are people we have worked with. They checked many of our schools, particularly the private schools, and gave us registration certificates. So I think authenticity of those certificates, or whatever it is, it may be it's necessary for the present administration. But the good thing about it is that the same officers who checked those schools are the same officers coming in. This time they have brought in the provincial administration or the Interior Ministry to check the schools with the education officials. We have no problem with them because they provide security. Remember, some of our schools got nuisances from people who probably sell liquor around, and I think they are the people who are supposed to control such things. So we welcome them, and anything that improves education in the country is good. I want to assure our members across the country that they should receive them, and if there is any problems, then let us know so that we can take it with the ministry and discuss it with them, because I want to assure them that the CS, we are in talking terms, and even the director of higher education, we have been talking. So I don't think there is any sinister motive on that exercise.
Okay, and you sound confident about your level of preparedness. But tell me, how does your association work with government to promote and maintain high standards of education, especially within the member schools of your association? What are the concrete things that you're doing in partnership with government to ensure that that quality that the current administration is striving for is maintained?
Let me highlight that education is a very expensive exercise. When I was young, I think I read a book that was talking about education being a noble thing. It's not something you get into because you want to be wealthy. You will be cheating yourself, because to offer education, there are so many sacrifices that goes with it. Take, for example, infrastructure. To be able to offer education in any institution is a heavy investment. To get the classrooms ready, to get the labs, to get the playing fields, and many things, the content, and to bring in the teachers to be able to make it a reality is not just a walk in the park. So I believe on this perspective, the government, so it is important to bring in other players to also take off the burden from them so that they can also have some resources to be able to inject into other parts of the Kenyan economy. For example, if we spend all our money on education, what shall we spend on agriculture? What shall we put into places like transport, our roads? They need this same money. So the government allowed the private sector to come in to complement. We are not taking it, but we complement the efforts the government is putting in place to be able to provide this education to Kenyans. And this is not a Kenyan affair alone. It is a worldwide practice. There's no developed country that has no private education.
Okay, you talk about complementing government efforts. What recent initiatives, have you taken recently to support the government?
Yeah, I want to say that we used to ask the government to capitate the students in the public schools, and that have been in the zone for over quite some time, and we really wanted the government to capitate our students, and we saw it was not coming. The government was not refusing. I think the budget constraints We have had very good CSS who were able to go work with us, but at some level we would get to a headwind. We were not moving. So when I came in, I think the first thing I said, why can't we look for other people who can also be able to provide funding for our schools? Because putting up this infrastructure is quite a huge expense. And I think I'm happy to report that we were able to sign an agreement with the National Bank to be able to provide funding to our members at an affordable rate through courtesy of other sponsors who are able to make that possible. And that is supposed to help our members, particularly to have clean energy, water and sanitation, and also improve content of our learning. So that is an achievement we have done.
How about in terms of capacity building and ensuring that the teachers are CBC ready?
We in the association are always on that. One of the things we do is to train our teachers, and not only the teachers, even our directors. We have programs, even now we have rolled them that will go on throughout the year. And you would ask me, where do you get trainers? Let me tell you for free that the Kenya Private Schools is endowed with so many brains. Some of the members of the association are former professors, lecturers, high school teachers, business people, church-based people with education in all these things. But we still also borrow a leave from the government to come and train our teachers. We offer those programs. I think the next thing possibly we want to discuss with the government that they allow us to be certified when we bring quality trainers. That is a thing I think a discussion I want to take with the ministry, so that we are not only training them and then they are not recognized as people who have been trained. If you look at CBC or competency-based curriculum, the private sector has run away with it. And the students have done very well in my own assessment.
Tell me, there's even a story there with my colleague, Mboya, the one of the marking row, the KCP marking row in St. Francis, in Mangu. And I listened very closely to what Misori Akelo was saying, Kupet's Secretary General, that this is a tip of the iceberg. There were some complaints that were raised, teachers going very early and so on and so on. I don't know what your thoughts are as the private sector schools cluster on those working environments. Is that something that you can, give an opinion on, a view on? Or?
Yeah, when it comes to high school teachers, I think Kupet gets first-hand information.
Okay.
I got wind of this in the morning. Actually, I wanted to have an appointment this year, but when I went in, he had just rushed to the same meeting. And I wouldn't be able to discuss it so much because I don't have the details.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. But tell me, based even on the stories that we have been running lately, there are a lot of young people committing heinous acts and so on and so forth. I don't know what your thoughts are on anchoring, domiciling a dedicated system that provides psychosocial support to children even as they're growing up, so that we inculcate in the systems things like counseling. How do we deal with failing an exam? How do we deal with missing the targets you had set for yourself? Is this something that the private schools are turning around in their minds, based on what we are witnessing happening in the country?
With growth comes challenges. And we have to appreciate and understand as a nation that our population has grown. By the time we are going to school, we are around 5 million, thereabout. And now we are talking of a population that is running to 50 million. Now, looking back, you will appreciate that there are facilities that are constant. And there are schools. Of course, the government has done well. We have quite a number of day schools. So we used to go to school very small numbers, and that was manageable. Now, if you look at that time and now, you'll understand that principals were trained, and I believe, to manage a certain number of students in a secondary school setup. Then now we call them principals. We used to call them head teachers or headmasters. Then principals who are in colleges, I believe, were also trained to manage a certain number of students as their level grows. And universities, and because when you go to university, now we have schools within a system.
Yeah.
But now tell me, if our schools then, like for me when I went to school, we were 400, a whole school. Now in a school, we have 500 to 800 in Form 1s, to say, for example.
Yeah.
And facilities are stretched. Obviously, overcrowding is there. And therefore, as a country, I think we have a tall order to be able to address those growth, because they have brought the challenges which we must appreciate are there. Population has grown. Opportunities for employment have become scarce. So a student possibly, and you know we are Kenyans, possibly your father sold the cows to take you to school. Yeah. You have finished school, you have no job. So if this person is not talked to well, he doesn't see options. The cows are gone, possibly land was sold to take you to a university, you have come back home, we don't know where to start. So we see these things reflecting into our children. Yeah. We have systems in our high schools where we say we have chaplains as people to be able to talk to these children. But now in a situation where there are so many students, how many will the chaplain talk to? Because possibly a school has only one. So these are things we need to look at. Where did the rain start beating us? Have we planned for the 50 million Kenyans as opposed to the numbers we had, possibly 20 million the other years? Now, if this population is going to continue growing, it's not static. Yeah. Our facilities must also grow with the population. If we don't think in that line, we'll always get into this problem, irrespective of whatever actions we do, whether we take them to prison, whatever we do, we need to understand that growth brings challenges.
That's true.
And we must be able to confront these challenges to cope with the growth of the population.
Okay, as we wind down, you talk about growth. How does the structure of KPSA look like, finally, just in 2 seconds?
KPSA is structured right from the sub-counties. We have chairs. Then we have the counties. We have chairmen. Then we have regional representatives and sub-county representatives that talk and discuss issues with our directors. Okay. Then we have what we call the National Executive Committee. Okay. That is now the management of the association. Okay. Then we have our parliament, which we call the National Chairman or the National Committee of Chairmen, coming across the 47 counties of Kenya. Okay. Then finally, at the end of the year, we have an AGM where we take all the things we have done at the end of the year.
And of course, you at the Apex as the chair of the Kenya Private Schools Association. I want to thank you for making time to come and talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to take a short break at this point. Do stay with us. When we come back, the day's business plus later on, a look at the day's sports. Stay with us.
Leo na Loto Moto. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto, kisha weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa, kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi.
I don't know if you've noticed this at all, but Fabiola has changed quite a lot ever since she spent that night in the stables with the veterinarian, sir.
Please get a couple of horses ready.
Your boyfriend said he wouldn't go with you, Mama.
Because you're coming with me. I dare you to kiss me again.
And to prove that
My apology is totally sincere. I'm offering you a job right now.
What we feel is too strong to just let it go.
I'm supposedly going to get married. No.
Oh, serio? You
Zenaida.
scared me. What are you doing here?
Oh, I didn't hear you come in.
Oh.
Years ago.
Welcome back. Now, a section of members of the National Assembly have embarked on public participation to prioritize development matters. The members say that the move will aid in improving services to communities. Here's that report.
Lari Constituency Member of Parliament Mburu Kahangara and the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee conducted a public participation in Kamburu Ward. Residents appreciated the allocation of 35% of the fund to education bursary.
Ile tunataka kufanya ni kwamba tutatengeneza maabara laboratories katika hizo shule na kuhakikisha kwamba mahali kama hakuna darasa tujenge ama zile ziko pia tutajaribu kuzifanya upya ndio watoto unaona kama wanaenda secondary pia wasikie kwamba wamemove kutoka primary na wameenda mahali kwingine.
In Matungu, the area member of Parliament Oscar Nabulindo and Kakamega Women Representative Elsie Mohanda have decried low funding of the Constituency Development Fund, saying it results in project stalling.
Mimi ninatarajia 30 million ndio niweze kucover the entire constituency vile tulifanya ile mara nyingine. Lakini hii mwaka wanasema wataleta milioni 5 peke yake.
Mimi naomba serikali tafadhali mlete CDF na pia mlete pesa ya ngafu.
Elsewhere, administrators of private schools in Narok have urged the government to consider funding them in implementation of the competence-based curriculum to ensure uniformity in quality education.
Even if we may not be considered for free primary education because we are in the private sector, but there are other ways that the government can consider private schools because we are offering the same education and the children are all ours.
In the meantime, Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti has urged county workers to focus on development to enhance service delivery. She made the remarks when swearing in 26 chief officers of her government.
Asa imeisha. I'm not even interested in politics now. My interest is to deliver for the people of Machakos.
Elsewhere, residents of Teso North are set to benefit from a medical training institute constructed by the County Development Fund at a cost of 100 million shillings. Dr. Kelly Oluoch, the institute's CEO, appealed to the community to encourage their children to register for the courses.
We wish to appeal to the local community that we are currently doing admission of students at KMTC. Students are applying to join Kenya Medical Training Program.
And residents of Ngilai in Samburu County staged a protest following the arrest of a man by people suspected to be police. They regretted that during the midnight incident, police sprayed bullets randomly, killing several livestock. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
We now take a look at today's business news. My name is Wairimbo Jenga. Now we start off with the latest from Kenya Airways, where it says that it is experiencing disruption of flights due to challenges in procuring aircraft components for maintenance of its fleet as scarcity persists globally. Kenya Airways Managing Director Alan Kilavuka says some of its aircraft are grounded due to delays in scheduled maintenance, and the airline might be forced to review frequencies on some routes if the challenge is in securing the parts persists.
If you fly Kenya Airways, you might have in recent days experienced delays or disruptions. The airline says this has been a result of aircraft component supply chain challenges that has occasioned delays in securing the vital parts required for maintenance of its fleet. In a statement, Kenya Airways Managing Director Alan Kilavuka says if the situation persists, the airline might be forced to reduce some of its frequencies on some routes. Kilavuka says the decision to reduce flights if the scarcity persists is due to shortage of planes to cover for the delay on the affected routes, as Russia produces 35% of the total titanium in the global market. KQ says it is fictionalizing its component support system program that will help fast-track the securing of components. The airline is also engaging their original equipment manufacturer partners to work on mitigation measures in a bid to stabilize the operations. The disruption in frequencies comes just months after the national carrier was forced to grapple with a 4-day pilot strike that saw the airline lose an estimated 2.1 billion shillings in missed revenue. Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
Now, traders and small businesses have welcomed a decision by China to ease COVID-19 restrictions, noting that it would help reduce challenges they had experienced sourcing for some products. The businesses say the reopening of travel to some Chinese cities, coupled with the resumption of direct flights, would help reduce the overall cost of some commodities in Kenya that were expensively being sourced elsewhere.
Key imports from China, such as motor spare parts and electronics, had increased by as much as 50%, as importers passed on the high cost of shipments from the other countries to consumers. This after China restricted travel and movement in some regions to contain rising COVID-19 cases. The expensive imports were due to reduced manufacturing activity and a disrupted transport system after China imposed COVID-19 containment restrictions.
We were facing some challenges in the prices. Also the transportation, the containers, almost doubled price. The other thing is we could not travel to China to go and find more supplies or more varieties of things. We only could deal with those that we had previous.
However, China has relaxed some of the rules, including opening up its borders, a decision that small traders and businesses in Kenya are optimistic will bring down the cost of some commodities.
Go for the cultural fair, which I think they will communicate the dates. So we are very happy that they've opened.
Shop owners in Nairobi say China's strict COVID-19 prevention policies, including travel restrictions and quarantines, had affected their ability to import the Chinese-made products.
The sales were too low. Due to that, it affected prices of the commodities. You see, like prices for the tires went up by almost 50%.
Tourism agencies say they have also started receiving bookings from Chinese tourists after resumption of direct flights between Nairobi and Guangzhou by China Southern Airlines yesterday.
I fly to Guangzhou today because I am a businesswoman and sometimes I go to visit Guangzhou, like maybe twice a month. Yeah, I'm so excited because the business will be normal. Even so many people will be able to travel now, and we are so happy.
Expecting so many tourism in Kenya, we are very ready. We are welcoming Chinese market again after 3 years. We are very hopeful and very excited for this one.
The Ministry of Tourism projects to net 1.9 million international tourists this year, with the number of tourist arrival rising to 2.2 million next year. Benson Drioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now to stories making headlines across the continent. Increasing economic activity, a growing population and climate change are putting Zambia's energy sector under pressure. The country's electricity generation, which is mainly hydro, has suffered due to droughts in recent years. Here are the details of that story and more.
There has been insufficient investment into Zambia's energy infrastructure, causing power shortages and outages that can last up to 15 hours. When the droughts began to cause extensive blackouts, ZESCO, the leading state-owned power company in Zambia, had to raise tariffs by as much as 200% in 2019 in order to afford the cost of importing power from South Africa. While this short-term solution prevented total economic collapse, the Zambian government quickly came to the realization that a more reliable source of renewable energy was necessary. The Zambian government now plans to develop solar power that has the potential to sustainably lift millions out of energy poverty, improving the lives of individual citizens and jump-starting Zambia's economy as a whole. Elsewhere, the construction of Mbamba Bay Port in Ruvuma region, Tanzania, is set to commence this month. The Tanzanian Ports Authority says that its implementation will help ease off cargo coming into the country through the Mtwara port, as it cannot handle cargo ships destined for Malawi, Zambia, and Mozambique. The new extension will see the Mtwara corridor, that is a major infrastructure wing involving southern Tanzania, northern Mozambique, and eastern Zambia, facilitate the movement of goods and people from the deepest water port to other places, especially in Malawi, Mozambique, and Zambia. And finally, the Ministry of Trade and Regional Integration in Ethiopia has announced an increase on the current retail price of fuel products. According to a statement released by the ministry, the new price for a litre of gasoline will be 61 birr and 29 cents, for white diesel 67 birr and 30 cents, as well as kerosene at 67 birr. The light black diesel will be sold at 49 birr and 69 cents, heavy black diesel at 48 birr and 70 cents, and jet fuel at 67 birr and 91 cents per litre. According to the ministry, due to transportation fees, there will be slight differences in the prices in regional cities. Similar prices increases were made in June and September last year, following a decision by the Council of Ministers in December 2021 to steadily cut long-last fuel subsidization programs.
Well, that marks the end of tonight's business bulletin. And I'll hand you over to Tom. Tom, over to you.
Well, straight into the day's sports. FIFA and CAF delegation tour of Kenya ended Tuesday with the officials agreeing to help Kenya get football back on track and also succeed in their bid to host the Africa Cup of Nations in 2027. The delegation's tour came just a few weeks before the commencement of the bottom-up grassroots football, which will see coaches on the ground identify talent and cascade the Academy of Sports to all parts of the country. In addition, CAF and FIFA will provide technological support in the upgrading of the sporting facilities in Kenya before the approval of any hosting of international tournament, beginning with the Africa Cup of Nations.
The federation, with the government, and ourselves, FIFA, and we were also here with CAF. So for us, it's good. It was a good mission. We can go back and work. But this country is a football country. You have people passionate about the game. You have kids that dream about making a career. You have kids that enjoy and love playing football. Kids, girls and boys, and we want the role to run.
I want to thank, personally, I want to thank Football Kenya Federation. Actually,
Marathon champion Sharon Lokedi of Kenya, Israel's Lona Salpita, and Ethiopian Ameno Bersio are some of the star attractions at this year's Boston Marathon. The marathon is slated for the April 17th and will feature 30,000 participants.
The 127th edition of the Boston Marathon will see global medalists, national record holders, Olympians and Paralympians, as well as 5 Boston Marathon champions battle for top honors. Making their Boston Marathon debuts are 3 athletes who noted impressive breakthrough performances in 2022, including Israel's Lona Salpita, Kenya's Sharon Lokedi, and Ethiopia's Amane Beriso. Last year, Salpita earned a bronze medal at the World Athletics Championships Marathon, then placed second at the New York City Marathon. Lokedi claimed victory in her debut marathon in New York, while Beriso ran the 3rd fastest marathon time in history to win the Valencia Marathon and set a new national record in December. Returning champion runners include USA's Des Linden, Kenya's Edna Kiplagat, and Ethiopia's Atsede Baisa. The wheelchair division champions include Tatiana McFadden of the USA and Manuela Ska of Switzerland. The marathon is slated for April 17 this year and will feature 30,000 participants.
To do that solo as well is not an easy task.
Reigning Handball League champions Cereals have been nominated for Men's Team of the Year award during the 19th Sports Personality of the Year award slated for the 20th of this month at KICC. This year's Soya Awards has 16 categories, including a return of the school's categories which missed during the last gala, following the postponement of school games. Why? The COVID-19 outbreak. Here's that report.
Cereals will be contesting for the gong against Kenya's 15th rugby team, rugby club Menengai Oilers, hockey team Butali Warriors, and the Kenya rugby under-20 team Chipu. Other teams battling for the award are the 4x400 meters relay team, which won bronze at the Commonwealth Games, as well as the 4x100 meters team that won gold in the Africa Senior Athletics Championships last year in Mauritius. This year's Soya Awards has 16 categories, including a return of the schools category, which missed during the last gala following postponement of school games since the COVID-19 outbreak. This year's gala is being held under the theme My Integrity, My Sport, My Pride, resonating with the anti-doping war.
Eddie Nketiah scored twice as Arsenal set up an FA Cup fourth-round clash away to Manchester City after seeing off third-tier Oxford United 3-0 at the Kassam Stadium. Meanwhile, Manchester United boss Eric Ten Hag will choose David De Gea or new signing Jack Bartland for the Carabao Cup quarter-final tie against Charlton at Old Trafford tonight.
Mohamed El-Neni's header opened the floodgates at the Kassam Stadium after the Premier League leaders failed to make the breakthrough for over an hour.
Whipped in by Vieira, it was a great delivery and Mohamed El-Neni was there.
Nketiah then sealed the win by taking his tally to 4 goals in as many games since the World Cup break.
Nketiah around the goalkeeper, it's 2-0.
But victory could have come at a cost for the Gunners as Bukayo Saka limped off in the closing stages. Mikel Arteta named a strong side featuring his preferred front three in the absence of the injured Gabriel Jesus, Saka, while Gabriel Martinelli flanked Nketiah in attack. Meanwhile, Manchester United head coach Eric Ten Hag will choose David De Gea or new signing Jack Bartland for the Carabao Cup quarter-final against Charlton at Old Trafford. In another tie, Newcastle will look to respond to their shock FA Cup exit when they face Leicester City.
Katie Boulter was among 3 Britons who registered victories in the first round of the qualifying for next week's Australian Open. The Bullock edged out American Caroline Dolhart 6-3, 6-7. Katie Swan lost to France's Jessica Ponche, and fellow Briton Ryan Peniston was beaten by Canadian Alexis Galeneau. However, Liam Brody lost in Melbourne. Meanwhile, Lily Miyakaze beat American Hailey Baptiste 6-4, 7-5, with Jodie Burrage easing past Alicia Bolston of Australia 6-2, 6-4. Miyakaze will take on Jang Sung-jong of South Korea in the second round of qualifying on Wednesday. Well, that's all we had time for from all of us here at Broadcasting House along Harithuku Road. I want to thank you so much for watching this live broadcast. My name is Mboya, and I'm wishing you a pleasant evening. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya. Bye-bye.
Kupata Waibrania kama skiza tune yako, bonyeza star 811 star 817 hash.
Yesu Kristo ni yule yule, jana, leo na hata milele. Wahibrania 13 mstari wa 8.
Kupata Waibrania, bonyeza star 811 star 817 hash. Star 811 star 817 hash.
Ghostiwa. Ghostika. These are the vibes we are entering 2023 with. I mean, if there's somebody who ghosted you last year, akamua this year, haendi mbele na wewe, hasongi mbele na wewe, please kubali, ghostika, songa mbele kama nini, songa mbele kama injili.
Miss V, mimi ukini ghost mimi nitakukujia tu hakuna ati nini mimi nitakukujia tu manze ya. More blessings, more shows, you know, more wins. This is 2023.
Yes, we are
that
in the second week and
that
we
is the
love
energy,
it.
Yeah?
We absolutely love it. As is our usual, we bring you entertainment shows and nothing or less of that. Nothing more or less of that. I go by the name Vivian Dago. You can simply just call me Miss V.
Jack Muller, the party daddy, or you can call me Papi, aka your girlfriend, go my number man.
And you know what this right here is?
Grapevine, baby. Pa, 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 pa.
What you gotta do? Cheza chini chini, cheza chini chini. It's a Monday, but I'm on a Friday vibe. Tuesday, but I'm on a Friday vibe. Yes, that's what's up. Matata brought the vibes to the city at their homecoming concert dubbed Super Mario. Now, Super Mario is also the name of their album, which they were launching. And let me tell you guys, that concert was fire. So many artists came through for them. Let's check it out. Kenyan Norway-based band Matata held their homecoming concert on the 30th of December at the Thika Road Mall's rooftop.
Ladies, make some noise for Matata, Matata! Give them a run, give them a run, yo. Give them a run, give them a run, yeah. Give them a run, give them a run. Ilibidi niokoke ndo niwashe jiko. Siko kwa kanali tiju niko ripo. Ulimi bado rize risasi sipo.
The event, dubbed Super Mario Experience, stood out with 5 experiential color zones to represent the personalities of Matata members. The experience was in sync with the concert theme, Super Mario, in reference to a hero from the ghetto adversity who is every day striving to better and bring change to their community.
Watu wangu miondoko mko. So, nataka useme, mini Super Mario. Mini Super Mario. Mini Super Mario.
The 15-track album is their first released album, and it was only right to come have a live moment with their fans back home.
Unafanya mini imbe injili, unafanya nisinyonge tumbili. Unafanya mini imbe injili, unafanya nisinyonge tumbili.
The show included stellar performances from the likes of Karun, Brandy Minor, MC Goodman, among others.
Think about that I'm alive, 2 fingers in the sky. Kunja kumi to the side. Chingu would decide to see when they took his slide. We can book it through your number. And I'll call, and I'll follow that ass in the mall. Take it home, let you juggle my ball. While I'm being teared down,
When time for the 5-lad group came to get on stage, revelers got to have a feel of their authentically curated presentation, and them being the professional dancers that they are, made it even more memorable. Kenyan drill masters wa Kardinali took to the stage and performed Ooh Ooh, which is a collaboration they have with Matata. Later on, the group came back on stage with Soul Generation's Ben Soul and Vir the Storyteller, and with their lyrical prowess, they brought the house down. What a way to launch an album.
Your rivals mama gave about to a winner. Life can keep a lemon, it just please make some lemonade. Now his streets with my demons, I'm a bull up the sun
Fresh Entries Music Awards, well known as FEMA, held their 3rd annual awarding gala at the KICC, manze, which was big. Eish! And manze, I'm just wondering, could FEMA Awards slowly be replacing the famous Groove Awards? Let's check it out.
And the winner is Wanja Mureithi.
FEMA Awards is an annual awarding initiative founded in the year 2020 that recognizes excellent, outstanding talent in the gospel music scene, celebrating fresh and new talents in music, media, and talent production.
I dedicate the award to all my fellow uniformed officers and my producer T. Thank you. Mungu awabariki.
Fresh Entries Music Awards FEMA had the 3rd annual awarding gala at the KICC.
And the winner goes to Kliza Fit Viola Salama.
It was all pomp and color on the red carpet as special guests, nominees, artists, media personalities, role models, and music fans graced the event with the best of fashion and glam.
I take this opportunity to thank you all, wale ambao in support kwa kuvote. May God bless you so much. Thanks to my wife Winnie. Thank you so much for supporting this. To my friends, my colleagues at NHC, na wote ambao in support. May God bless you so much. Hope is a verb. God bless you.
The gala had a total of 702 nominees, 50 final category winners, and over 1,000 people in attendance.
And the winner is Bishop Chris.
Nataka kuchukua fursa hii kwanza kabisa kushukuru Mungu kwa ajili ya nafasi hii
ambaye amefanya tukaweza kutana mali hapa. We don't take it for granted. Ya pili nataka kushukuru mtumishi wa Mungu kwa ajili ya kazi nzuri ambao umeweza kufanya, kwa ajili ya kutambua waimbaji na kwa support.
Unlike other awarding ceremonies, FEMA recognized the first and second runners-up individuals with different customized accolades of achievements as well, while all nominees received certificates of nomination.
In the Female Artist of the Year, in this category, the winner exhibited a track record of consistency in creating good gospel content that is well profiled and whose music appeals to a general wide audience. Now, drum rolls ziko wapi NDC? And the winner and the Female Artist of the Year 2022 goes to Doris K.
It wasn't just about winning, but also about impact and influence.
Praise the Lord. Those 2 minutes, I thank God. I'm overwhelmed. I want to thank God for this far.
There were other honorary awards such as Role Model, Lifetime Achiever, Ultimate Icon, and Industry Supporter Award.
What happens, Hewani Records, one of our, you can collaborate and tell us what each and every person standing here will benefit, and also
8 category winners received a recording deal of a full sponsored EP courtesy of a partner.
Very big honor, so I just want to say thank you to everyone. Mr. Edu, I mean, support sana, so thank you everybody. I belong to God. I'll see you. Yeah.
FEMA presented a gift voucher to the most voted for nominee. Congratulations to all the winners.
These people need music videos after we are done with the audio. And I believe by the time we are done with this, we'll be able to see how we can help. Because let me tell you, I've realized I won as the Male Artist of the Year last year, and the challenges are very simple. Yeah, the artists are not able to go back to the studio and make more music because it's very expensive, and end of the day, they're not getting anything back. The music is not paying enough. And I'm so glad and so glorifying God because of the man of God here, Dr. Ezekiel, because I believe in your leadership, and I know together we will make something work for the sake of the industry, and even many who are not even here, the creatives in terms of acting and film and many other categories that are not even here. So for the betterment of our industry, I believe we'll be also able to support them pia kwa upande kwa video, so that they have something to produce, something that you can make market out there. It's expensive, they know, and I know because I'm an artist and I'm a producer. So we are together in this, and we'll help each other where we can. Thank you so much for the chance. Thank you so much for the opportunity to partner with you in this cause, and we'll keep on doing this for the rest of the awards and even better packages. Yeah, in the spirit of helping each other. Thank you so much.
Wapi makofi ya Nana, break it down.
FEMA Awards is one award show that we really need to watch out for. The fact that they bring artists who are not as mainstream and bring them into the mainstream and streamlining them for that, we love to see it. Kudos to the FEMA team.
Absolutely, man. Right about now, we want to take a break, but remember to, catch us on our social media handles at Jack Mula, at Vivian Degwa, and of course, at KBC Channel 1. See you right back.
What you gotta do?
Cheza loto, shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na Loto Moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
And don't underestimate yourself. The only people who do that are ignorant.
I heard from you.
All the postcards he sent went missing after I moved.
All the postcards you sent went missing when I moved, and I never found them. Which is why I think it was the right choice to cut things off once and for all.
Thank you.
Hello, Miss Jia.
Oh, I'm getting prepared for school.
You need a ride to the airport?
What?
Aren't you leaving for Denmark today? When is the flight?
Forget me. Nothing they can do to stop this abuse. Sins of the Father are visited from all in a never-ending circle.
Welcome back to the show. In case you're just tuning in, better know the drill. This is Gripvine. Now, let me tell you about this album by King Kaka. It is known as Second Life. Now, this particular album is all about King Kaka telling us the story of the second chance he has had at life after ailing for months. Now, this particular album has 17 tracks, and within the 17 tracks, 12 of them are collaborations, and not just any kind of collaborations, big collaborations. Let's find out more about Second Life.
King Kaka. Just know, I am getting cheese kama panya ya pili. Almost died, so alive kama traki ya dili. Pigia kinaro lizeni mwaputon vipi.
King Kaka has officially released his much anticipated album dubbed Second Life. The album commemorates the period when the superstar was hospitalized for months.
Bizni ya Sara Messi baki. Bado na shine kakihara ya kibaki. Ajuza was a chuza so sitaki. Born winner so nyuma misi baki. Wacha wabonge words iko na zero weight. Plate is full na bado niko na njaa ya 08. Sai bank iko na 108. Meeting na Sylvia ni 10, mi nafika 8.
Second Life album expresses gratitude to God for King Kaka's full recovery and all the blessings God has bestowed upon the rapper and entrepreneur.
Love love yako bado ni strong na siamini zile favor many favor I say na sio mimi. Same time asi alitoa ngoma ya shule nikelewa kumbe unanipendanga bure. Mapenzi ya ukweli God na sio diko.
The title of the album was motivated by the fact that God has given him a second chance in life.
Those jama time na ma weekendi. The times it felt ni kama wewe unipendi. So why me? She doesn't eye me. They wanna ni try me. Na kutrolea malaini. Na kupenda zaidi.
Kwenye A, B na C ningekuwa namba D.
12 out of the 17-track album are collaborations with top music personalities within and beyond Kenya. There is a lot of diversity in the collaborations, from the generations of artists to styles of music.
Nimekuwa na siku mbaya. Fuko ekonomi mbaya. Morio ashavuta waya.
One can already tell that the album has been tailored for people of all age groups.
Kwanza venye sina plan B na cheki side B anadai side na sign in na cheki kona morio wangu guide maiji anadai ji itisha samjin usilewe sana wanze zile za kotaichi na chapa godon cheki shori ana godon ikigodon ongeza double vodo.
The songs too, going by the featured artists, will be applicable in almost all registers including church services.
Haya soleki lakini Mungu naye ni nani? Mipango yake lazima ikamilike, ni ukweli uhai ni kama maji yakimwagika.
King Kaka has so far released music videos from the album.
Kwa giza don't trust every light. Magoti kwa flow niliko trust every night. So to see niceness unaseti maching kwa pochi. Na kwa darkness ulini equip na tochi.
The released tracks include Umenibariki featuring Goodluck Gosbert, Asante featuring Kidum, Manifest featuring Viri the Storyteller, and Wajione featuring Iyani. The 3 songs were produced by Sifa and Ward Omolo.
Commandment umevunja ni ile ya kustill. Yani umesanya roho yangu mama ndakustaki kwa mamangu.
Walige harusi wale walisema tutaachana. Walige harusi wajione wacha wajione wacha wajione wacha wajione
Yo, wagwan, tunafunga sherehe in Nakuru manze, where an event dubbed The Square went down at the Athletics Club up on Nakuru manze. Let's check it out, baby.
Kenya's favorite gin held its inaugural first edition of the KBC Square in Nakuru at Nakuru Athletics Club.
And I think we have a winner.
The night was filled with multiple entertainment platforms offering a top-shelf selection of Kenya's A-list comedians, content creators, gaming, DJs, and live performances. The Square is where friends come together for a good time and great memories.
can't wait for the next edition.
Leo ni teni mheshimiwa baba freshi marashi nimejaa maeta wako pale.
Mula, you're not mentioning the fact that I grew taller over the holidays.
Man,
like
I forgot.
Competition.
Miss V is a man. Big shout out to you. I forgot. You look, you look good in your 8-inch heels, man. You look good. You look good.
Camera tricks, msidanganyike.
And by the way, Miss V, big shout out to my, primary school teacher, Mr. Enos Odhiambo. This guy taught me mathematics in Kodiaga Prison Primary School. A plus material. Uliza mwalimu wako hapa na watch. Big fan, man. Saizi yako, Alwala Mix Secondary School. Big shout out to you, Mr. Enos Odhiambo.
All right, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. As is our usual, we're gonna leave you with a song, and this time round, we are leaving you with Steve Simple Boy, the song.
Haya basi. Tuwache wasiwasi.
Steve Simple Boy ametoa diss track.
Hii ni noma. Hii ni mbaya.
It's a good one actually.
Yo man, address Eric Omondi, lakini Eric pia ametoa ingine mbaya. But in the meantime, let's take it out. Twende pale YouTube, to support Steve Simple Boy.
Yes, we call it a wrap. You know what they say, if you did not see it on Grapevine,
then it most probably never happened. Adios.
Mbona wasiwasi, nasikia sipo kwenye basi. Haya basi, mbona wasiwasi, napigwa picha hata nikikunywa maji. Nasikia walisema nivute meneja, kumbe hao ndo mateja. Wanajifanya huku nyuma wanipenda, na kumbe hao ndio wananisema. Nasikia vitu vingi, nasikia kiki, nasikia vitu vingi. Ule rais ni wa nini? Nasikia mambo mengi, kwa nini machizi nini? Huku mjini tunatafutanga pesa we.
Haya basi, mwache wasiwasi. Haya basi, wanangu tupo kazi. Haya basi, mwache wasiwasi. Haya basi, wanangu tupo kazi.
Leo simtaji nani, simtaji nani. Eti sipo kuja show, takulipa show baada ya show. Nakula matumbo, wakaleta shobo, sahi ndio zogo. Rakaka, pukuku, rakaka, pakaka, pukuku, baba niombe. Nasikia vitu vingi, nasikia kiki, nasikia vitu vingi. Ule rais ni wa nini? Nasikia mambo mengi, kwa nini machizi nini? Huku mjini tunatafutanga pesa we.
Haya basi, mwache wasiwasi. Haya basi, wanangu tupo kazi. Haya basi, mwache wasiwasi. Haya basi, wanangu tupo kazi.
Ay, papi.
underestimate yourself. The only people who do that are ignorant.
I heard from you.
All the postcards he sent went missing after I moved.
All the postcards you sent went missing when I moved, and I never found them. Which is why I think it was the right choice. To cut things off, once and for all.
Thank you.
Hello, Miss Jia.
I'm getting prepared for school.
You need a ride to the airport?
What?
Aren't you leaving for Denmark today? When is the flight?
I don't know if you've noticed this at all, but Fabiola has changed quite a lot ever since she spent that night in the stables with the veterinarian, sir.
Please get a couple of horses ready.
Your boyfriend said he wouldn't go with you on Father.
Because you're coming with me. I dare you to kiss me again.
And to prove that my apology is totally sincere, I'm offering you a job right now.
What we feel is too strong to just let it go.
I'm supposedly going to get married. No.
Oh, serio? You scared me. What are you doing here?
Oh, I didn't hear you come in.
Oh.
Years ago.
Welcome to your #1 tech show. This is Tech on Tech. There is so much for you. You are rightly tuned in. This is Tech on Tech, and the hashtag is again Tech on Tech at KBC Channel 1. My name is Stephanie Ayeta. Today's question of the day, we are asking you, why is it that most data farms have not yet complied to register with the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner since rollout in 2019? Share your thoughts with us. The hashtag to use is Tech on Tech at KBC Channel 1. In tech news, there is a slow rate of registration by data farms in Kenya, failure to comply with the Data Protection Act, and internationally, Google loses its appeal over European Union antitrust Android fine. More details into these two stories in our Tech News Roundup. Most Kenyan organizations have not registered with the Data Commissioner since listing started in July. A survey by audit firm Ernst & Young Global Limited shows that only 19% of firms in Kenya have registered as data controllers or data processors with the newly established Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. The report shows that only 12% of Kenyan firms have submitted data protection impact assessment reports to the Data Commissioner since the rollout of the Data Protection Act in November 2019. The Act requires all companies that handle or process individuals' personal data and meet the set criteria to register with the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. The firms are required to carry out a data protection impact assessment and submit it to the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner 60 days before processing if it's likely to result to high risk to the freedom and rights of a data subject by virtue of its nature, scope, context, and purposes. Juma Ochola, Ernst & Young Global Limited Trust Technology Manager, said organizations face multiple challenges in their journey to fully comply with the requirements of the Data Protection Act, hence the slow rate. Despite the challenges, The survey revealed some progress. 50% of firms have developed data protection and privacy policies, 26% have a framework, and 19% already have a strategy. Further, 56% of organizations already have data protection officers, an office established by the Data Protection Act and mandated to ensure compliance with the Act, among other functions related to it. Google has received the largest antitrust fine ever handed down by the European Commission, a penalty of 4.125 billion euros. This is after losing appeal of a record European Union antitrust Android fine. It is said Google had breached its laws by forcing Android phone makers to carry its search and web browser apps in order to access the Google Play Store in 2018. Google has since changed its terms. Google says Android offers more choice, not less, and that anyone is free to change their search and web browser apps. But the reality is that most people never stray from the option that came with their phone. Google acquired the mobile phone operating system developer, which today powers roughly 70% of the world's mobile phones, in 2005 for $50 million. The European General Court reduced the European Commission's original fine slightly in final ruling on Google's appeal. It said this was to reflect the gravity and the duration of the infringement. A European Commission spokesperson said it will carefully study the judgment and decide on possible next steps. In Tech of the Week, we feature a banking app that has been specifically designed to enhance the banking experience of the African immigrant. Here is the story. A financial technology startup has come up with an app that enables Africans and immigrants to easily access banking services and affordably transfer money across borders in a fast, convenient, and affordable manner. The company is taking advantage of the few number of digital banks available, especially those that include additional services such as money transfers for Africans living in diaspora. They have partners insured by Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation and legally licensed across the jurisdiction that Wire settles money in, offering the banking and remittance services. With the motivation of mobile money being one of Africa's success stories, this startup company wants to bring the convenience of transacting on mobile money to banking in the USA, allowing users to transact with each other while enabling the diaspora to send money to Africa in a convenient and affordable way. Its chief operating officer supports this by saying that the African diaspora sends over $50 billion back home every year and loses up to $3 billion in hidden fees and high foreign exchanges rates when sending money back home. Adding that they not only want to help them move money back home in a faster, cheaper, and affordable way, but want to enable them to also store, spend, and transact over 80% of their income that remains in the countries where they live and work. In its operation, customers will be able to open digital banks via the Wire app. Their accounts will allow them to send money to other Wire users for free. They will also use their Wire cards linked to their accounts to remit funds to over 10 African countries. The remittances will be delivered to mobile money wallets as well as bank accounts across the continent. Furthermore, their customers will be able to make domestic bank transfers stateside. There's also a utility bill management feature that will allow them to settle various payments. Additional features include credit access, savings, and investment for immigrant workers.
In today's interview section, we have Evelyn Kasina, who is a family IT and digital leader and works on online safety for children and the ecosystem that's inclusive of parents, guardians, educators, institutions, and the government. Now, Evelyn is the founder of Eviminet Communications, a safety partner for such organizations as Meta, Google, and TikTok in Sub-Saharan Africa. Karibu sana, Evelyn.
Asante.
So she'll be talking to us about child online protection and what parents need to know when their kids are engaging online. So Evelyn, let's just go to the first question. Please, in your own context, tell us, when you engage with children, what do they look as, what does social media mean to them?
For them, it is a space where they can extend their day. Yeah, so for instance, if they had a whole week where, I know parents normally don't have kids on their phones or on social media for a whole week, and then over the weekend, they're given the access to be online. So it is an extension of what they didn't have during the week. It is also a space where they can learn and they can showcase themselves. Yeah, and that is something maybe parents really don't know. And it's also a place to just chill, where they just want to go meet new people. They want to play the latest game so that when they're in their own crowds in school or outside, they can participate in conversations over what is happening online. Yes.
Now, what are some of the popular platforms that young people like?
Yeah.
And where would you say they have a preference to some platforms as opposed to others?
All right. You and I are on Facebook, right? LinkedIn.
Correct. Yes.
Our children are definitely not on those platforms. They're most likely to be on places like Snapchat, Twitter, not even Twitter. They're on Snapchat, they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram. Gamers are on Discord. Yeah, those are now for gaming platforms where people just meet and play along. They are on those kind of platforms because, first, the content is very short and snappy. Just imagine yourself on TikTok. I don't know if you have a TikTok account.
No way.
But I'm sure you've interacted with a TikTok video.
Yes.
It is short and snappy. And that's what our children really love. They want to be there, get the message, move on. They want to be there, participate in a challenge and move on. And so for them, it is somewhere where it is not going to make them stay for long. Just come, hang out with people and go. And those are the kind of platforms which they find themselves on.
Okay.
Yes.
When you talk of TikTok and Snapchat and I don't know which
Instagram.
Instagram,
Yeah.
that where young adults or the young love to engage in. Are there age limits for them to join? Because I know when Facebook came, they had that age limit. I don't know if they still do, the age limit of 13. But we still found children under 13 joining.
Yeah. Of course, as it is, you and I once upon a time were children. And when rules were created for us, we tried our best to circumvent them. These platforms, at any given point, your child has to be the age of 13 and above to subscribe to them. But of course, we'll find children who are lying about their age so that they can be. You'll find platforms like, the gaming platforms, Roblox. I know it's very common in Kenyan houses. You will find children who are about 8, 9 who are in those platforms. For them, it is just to connect and to play the kind of new games. But what they don't understand is elements of like the chat box where a predator can come and just try and lure the child. We call it grooming, where somebody can be lured to go into a chat box and start chatting somebody who might not really be a child. But yes, the age limit is 13. And the security features that I'll give an example of, like TikTok, that has put specifically for kids, is that when they get into TikTok and they're between the age of 13 and 16, they cannot chat. So the chat function is locked. They cannot go live, so that is also locked. And your child is not discoverable. So it means if I am 13 and somebody was to go and search for Evelyn Kasina, because I am a minor, my account is not available to be searched. And those are very, very important security features, which means as a parent who really wants their child to, to be in the time to integrate in these platforms, those kind of things are very important for you to be like very genuine when you're signing up and putting your age limit, because those parameters have been put specifically for minors. Yes.
Tell me, because we still have some minors who will still sign up to such an account, and we know they are below age.
Yes.
And you being like the Sub-Sahara partner for such apps as, you know, TikTok, are there discussions around how to deal with this issue?
Yes. In fact, when we are looking for keywords, when we are searching to know if there are kids who are below a certain age, we look at the kind of language. You would tell when a child who is below 15 how they speak online, right? And the kind of things that they are lured into. So we have keywords that we make sure we approximate the age of the child, and when we find for sure, especially if like parents are creating accounts for their children but their children are active on those accounts, if they're minors, they're blacklisted, at least so that that child can obtain the legal age to be on those platforms.
Okay.
So at least what we really advocate for, especially to parents in terms of creating awareness, is that even if you've created an account for your child, it's important to monitor. I'm going to talk about specifically TikTok, where I know very many parents feel like my child really needs to engage. And if you have a child who is a minor, you know, even less than the age that is required, there's an app, security app, that is called family pairing, where if I'm your child, you create your own TikTok account and pair it with mine. So among the security features, you can also set for me screen time, because you also don't want, as a parent, your child to be online for a very long time. So you set for your child screen limits, what time they're allowed to be there, what kind of content cannot sift through their platform, so that at least, because sometimes the children really don't know what to say no to or what to accept, that family pairing really helps you to keep them safe until they're the age of 16. And so also what we say is, by the time you are allowing your child to be on social media, then it should give you an avenue to start discussing this kind of things that we have.
Okay. Now, I think I want to, it just sounds all complex. So maybe you can tell us what are some of the trends that you have observed, and even in those trends, have you observed, you know, are there any challenges?
For the parents who must be listening to this conversation, I don't know if for us who are a little older, we don't participate in online challenges. We used to call them pranks when we were growing up, you know. I want to prank my friend for one thing or another. For the kids nowadays, they're calling them online challenges. And so you will find there are good challenges that come out, and there are challenges that might pose either physical or emotional risks to children. But then out of curiosity, because when we are engaging, they'll be like, I just wanted to see what will happen. And so there are a lot of challenges that come out each and every day that children participate in. Things that they want to go and tell their friends, but then you didn't participate in that, you didn't see that, and it's a hashtag. So you just go online and then you find it, and then it's like, okay, fine, I just put my camera somewhere, record myself, post it. It will give me hits, it will give me likes, it will make me trend. And those are the kind of things they want to do in their social media time. So the challenges is one of the things that I believe parents at this day and age need to start engaging their kids on. I normally put a disclaimer, because I know for parents, most of these challenges, they hear them on TV. Our children are not on TV anymore. They just have these small screens. And so there is normally a challenge where if you see an online challenge that children are participating and it really has dire consequences, you might go and sound it to your child, and then it plants a seed. So conversation-wise, come and ask, Bebe Grace, you do online challenges, yes. What are some of the challenges that you participate in? So that at least you see where your child's head frame is. And then ask them, what makes you want to participate in these challenges? How does it make you feel when you participate in these challenges? And then you can derive a conversation from there. As opposed to going on, and then you'll be like, you know, I saw the blue whale challenge, people are killing themselves, and then the children are like, hey, okay, they start putting their walls up. So it's just a matter of a lot of conversations. I keep telling parents, musi panic. I know these things come fast and furious, and we can't keep up with them. But when we can sit and have conversations with them, at least they tell us what they're doing online.
Okay. So Tech on Tech takes a short break. When we come back, we'll be talking more to parents. Please keep following us on our social media handles, and that's at KBC Channel 1 across all media platforms.
Cheza loto, shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na loto moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na loto moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza loto moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
You're watching Take on Tech, the interview section, in which we are looking at some of the challenges of social media apps and what parents need to know with Evelyn Kasina. So Evelyn, before we went on a break, you were telling us how parents need to engage their children to get to know what are some of these challenges that they are engaged in. Now, in your interaction, because you interact with both the young people and even their parents, in your interaction with parents, what really is their opinion about social media?
It's too much. The kids are spending so much pointless. I use the word pointless because that is something that really comes out. They're spending a lot of pointless time online, and we don't know how to keep up with what they're doing. So those are some of just the words that keep, flowing every time I'm interacting with parents, that they cannot keep up. Every day there's a new technology, there's a new app, there's a new trend. They really can't keep up. And so I feel sometimes that as parents, we have this defeatist kind of attitude. Like we feel so defeated. We have so much already on our plates, then we have to catch up with what our kids are doing. So yes, there's a general kind of moment, yes.
Okay, and in your work then, are there concerns that parents need to pay attention to?
Yes, a lot of red flags. In class, I normally have conversations with children from the age of 5, all the way to 17, 18, where when we are interacting with them, we want to understand first their lingo, because I understand, like, right now, the way our kids are coming up, they have a different way of communication, which we might not understand. And then they have coded language where they show distress, like the way we would have SOS kind of codes. And so I think for parents, one of the things that we need to really, really pay attention to is things like withdrawal, things like new words in the house that you really don't understand what is happening. There are children currently who are self-harming to cope with pressures from online spaces where probably they're being bullied, they're being harassed, but then since they don't know what to do, they're harming themselves. Then suddenly your child has a change of dress code. Your child who was probably very outgoing becomes very conservative, very reserved. They don't want to talk, or they want to talk to specific people. Those are red flags which I believe parents need to start monitoring a lot, because mental health is not something we really discuss as Africans. We don't know what the signs are. We probably do have mental health issues, but we don't know we have mental health issues. And our children really, at this point, they're really struggling with a lot. They have so many pressures that when we are not giving them an avenue or a space where they can talk to us freely and talk to us in a way that we are listening, not just sharing our opinions in a way that we are dismissing them. It will be a good space for us to have conversations. I'll give an example of a conversation on LGBTQ. These conversations are happening on the dinner tables. But when you find that parents are not even present on the dinner tables, that's a gap. Or we are present, but everybody has a screen behind them. So we are just eating and everybody has a screen. At what point do discussions happen? Because children are watching things online, they're watching things on TV, these shows, and they're conflicted. And that when that confliction happens, they don't know my source of authority. What is my source of authority saying?
Right.
Is my parent a source of information? And so I think parents need to start having, you know, monitoring especially what the kids are watching, but also being there and available to talk about what they're watching and how they're feeling.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, because these platforms are very popular with the young people, are there privacy concerns that parents should be concerned about, or even the young people?
Yes, especially data. Privacy concerns for me would be oversharing information that shouldn't be online. Every time I'm having conversations with children, I share very basic, simple things that, you know, when maybe you're at a mall or you're at a birthday party or somewhere where people are taking photos, if it's not somebody you know, or even if it's somebody you know, ask them, I'm seeing you with a phone and you're taking photos of us. Where are you posting these things? Do you have my consent, right? You're having a celebration and you really want to show people what you've been doing. If you can post those things after you've left that space for security reasons, that would be an ideal thing. I keep telling parents, you know, we are excited when our kids are going to school, then we take photos of our kids going to school, they're in full uniform with logos. That means that you're exposing content that should not be online. And of course, even when they are registering on the platforms, things like putting their email accounts, the email address online, their phone numbers, where they live, those are privacy concerns, but I think we don't know that there are concerns. So I think what we need to start doing is creating awareness and telling them, personal information can be online, private information cannot be online, and this is the category of what private information is. And then of course, also having the courtesy to ask people, I took a photo of you, by the way, may I post it on my social media? You know, if I say yes, yes. If I say no, you respect that. Yeah, but also one of the things I challenge parents a lot on is at any given point, even in schools, especially in schools, when you do realize that your child in school is going to participate in a club that has computers, does the school have policy to make sure that when they're in this premise, my child is going to be protected because the school has policies on ABCD? What are the security policies? We just take our children to school, wanaenda. We take them at home, it is free-flowing. We need to start having very deliberate conversations around content. You took my content. How long are you going to keep it? What are you using it for? How are you going to destroy it? And I know the Data Protection Bill Act that is there, we have not read it, yeah? To know that if I'm in violation of something, these are the consequences. Until it happens, then you're like, oh, I didn't know, but then it has already happened. So I do believe that as parents, and even because we are the ones who are responsible for minors, when your child is getting onto any social media platform, be with them to register. That's one. Read the community standards, because that is where you are guided on what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to behave. As parents as well, we need to be aware that as a country, we are so progressive to the point that if your child feels violated, there's a child helpline that you can just call and somebody will pick the call and help the child.
What's that child helpline?
116. And I keep saying, just take a paper and put 116, it's a toll-free number, and put it on your fridge, so that even if you're not at home and your child feels like they're being bullied, they're being harassed, they can call that number and somebody on the other end of the line will assist them. And so we need to be able to allow the systems that have been put in place by the government to work for us. And also be intentional on telling our children, when you feel a red flag feeling, I keep telling them, a red flag feeling is when you feel anxious, you're feeling upset, you're feeling nervous, or somebody's making you have that feeling. You block and report, call 116 if your parents are not around, because you're empowering that child to know that I'm being given this opportunity to be online, but then when something happens and my parents are not around, this is what I can do.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. I must say, very useful information, Evelyn. So that brings us to the end of the interview section of Take on Tech. We were talking to Evelyn Kasina, who is actually a digital leader and works with children, the young adults, and parents, the ecosystem. That's the guardians, the institutions, and the government. So thank you so much for gracing Take on Tech. Yeah. And that's it from us, from our interview section. My name is Grace Gidaiga. Keep watching.
In Innovators Club, we challenge you to try something new. Step outside the box. Sometimes we bring you innovators, and today we want to challenge you with a do-it-yourself hack, which you can try at home with minimal resources. Check it out. We now draw the curtains on today's show, but still we welcome your participation in today's conversation. We have asked you, why is it that most data farms in Kenya have not registered with the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner? Share your thoughts with us. The hashtag to use is TakeOnTech at KBC Channel 1. You can also interact with me at Stephanie_Ayete. That is on Instagram. And we meet next week, same time, same place. Until then, let's keep it tech. Adios.